Hi everyone. Welcome to this Light Up virtual conference on Microsoft technology in support of UNICEF, which is powered by C Sharp Corner and Tech Platform. This conference is basically for fundraising event to fight COVID-19. Today I would be talking about exploring SharePoint list formatting with no or low code solution. Uh, we would like you to donate as much as you can with a minimum of $1 to $5, whatever you can. This would go directly in support of in support with UNICEF. It would directly go with the uh, people affected by COVID-19. I would like to thank the sponsors who without which this event would not have been possible, and special thanks to Shisha Corner and Tech Platform for organizing this event at this large scale. A little bit about myself. I am Siddharth Pagasya. I'm a technical consultant, primarily focusing on SharePoint, Office 365, Azure, and .NET. I like to share my knowledge wherein I speak at various technical conferences. I do write articles on C Sharp Corner and on my personal blog. I also like to contribute on PNP and SharePoint Stack Overflow. I'm a C Sharp Corner MVP. And if you like to connect with me, these are my social handles through which you can connect with me and drop by and say hello. Moving on about today's topic. So let's take a step back and let's understand, maybe before 2 years back, when people who are working on SharePoint as a developer or a programmer, we do store our data in SharePoint lists, right? List and libraries in the form of columns and rows. Correct. Now, what happens is, most of the times the actual customer requirement does not get fulfilled by out of the box ways. Okay, though we prefer, I mean, from the architectural point of view, it is always preferable to use out of the box way to do things, but that's not how the customer requirement works. I mean, they will come up with a small just a small set of requirement which might not be possible using out of the box, right? So one of the cases which I can think of, which that customer can ask is, like how to customize the SharePoint list view, right? The out of the box view is good. I mean, it is basic, and it gives you the basic functionality of any grid, like it displays the data in the form of row and columns. It allows you to filter the data, and the data has been displayed in a simple raw format with the fonts and the stylings which is available out of the box, right? But what if, customer asks saying that, yeah, you are storing the data, that is fine, but what I need is, I need you to highlight a specific column. If the value is, maybe depending on the column values, you wanted to highlight that specific column, or maybe you wanted to give a different styles to that particular view, list view, right? Or maybe if they wanted to, combine multiple column data into a single column, maybe a h1 tag with saying that, maybe item 1, and below that they wanted to display the description of the item rather than displaying it in the tabular format, correct? So in such cases, before 2 years back, what we used to have, we do have options to do this kind of customization. One of them was customizing the list view using SharePoint Designer, right? Wherein we modify the XSLT and apply the rules, and in the form of XSLT rules, we do the customization. That would be again converted into XML, and then once it has been rendered onto the page, the XSLT rules and the XMLs are basically combined and displayed into the form. Okay, this was not an easy way out. Okay, and it did not get that much popular, but still this was something which we used to do. Then uh, then there was a JS link with client-side rendering. Okay, many of us might have been using JS link. What is provides is, it basically provides you kind of a whenever you are adding the view to the page, it gives you an option to provide you the reference to the JS link file. In the JS link file, you do write some callback events methods which will basically allow you to override the client side rendering, okay, wherein you can capture how the columns is being rendered, and then that particular column, rather than displaying it in the simple style which out of the box provides, it can be override using your custom HTML. right? If this is not the case, if you need, what we used to do is we used to use content editor web part, wherein we actually write the code programmatically, get data using JSON, and format our HTML and display it into the page, right? And if the customization is cannot be fulfilled using kind of client object side, we use custom web part wherein you do server side coding. Okay, so this was kind of which used to happen 2 years back, but with SharePoint Online and SharePoint Modern, what Microsoft is recommending is that uh, we should not be doing kind of server side customization. We should be doing client side customization. And also in the client side customization, they are trying to focus on the things wherein they are recommending no code or low code solutions, so that it does not have to be maintained in the long run, right? And if because with the cloud and the SharePoint Online, what happens is they do add features every now and then, and if some feature is been added and we have done some customization which is kind of not in the recommended way by Microsoft, the customization can break, right? So with this in mind, maybe 2 years back, if I remember it correctly, they came up with a concept of list formatting, which is basically, if I understand it correctly, it is on the top of JS Link, right? So JS Link also, what it does, it basically allows you to write callback events and callback events on the your column rendering. You can that code would be called once the column is getting rendered, and you can manipulate the HTML and respond back the HTML the way you want it. And within that JS Link, you can refer the fields so that the values which are being captured dynamically as per the row can be displayed accordingly, right? So this is kind of on top of it. So this basically allows us to customize the out of the box way. Okay, and this allows us to format the rows and the columns in modern list and library. So please note here that this list formatting is not supported in the classic views. It is only supported in the modern views. Okay, as I said, this is a no code or low code solution. Why no code and low code, that we will see. It gives the customization which you are doing is kind of declarative customization, because we would be writing the customization in the JSON format, which is basically kind of a JavaScript object notation format, and which is very popular. So any programmer or anybody who is kind of technical would be dealing with JSON objects in one way or another, right? And who can create this list formatting? The users who have access to modify view can only apply the formatting. So user who does not have access to modify the views or create the views will not be able to do the formatting, right? And the formatting comes in the two options. Okay, it comes in the column formatting, wherein you can specify do the customization on a specific column within your list view, or it can be done as a view formatting, wherein whole of the view or all the row of your particular view can be customized, and the formatting can be changed. So anybody who is kind of anybody who knows HTML, CSS, and JSON objects would be able to do the customization. But there are options of no code solutions also, which they have come up with recently, which we will be seeing in few minutes, wherein we don't have to write JSON also. It just gives us a kind of a builder UI through which we can just do a point and click, and the formatting would be done. Like for example, if you see, if you have a status column, right, and if you wanted to do the change the background of the color depending on the status. So like if the status is done, you want the background to be green, uh, and you wanted the checkbox to be marked. If it is blocked, maybe you want it to be red. If it is in progress or in review, you want it to be displayed in orange. And if it is in progress, no formatting needs to be done. Sorry. So this way, this kind of column formatting can be done. And uh, this is again a different example, wherein if your number is in the efforts and days, what it does, depending on the maximum value from between maybe 1 to 10, it kind of creates a bar, so that it gives you visualization of the data rather than just the numerical form of the data. Correct. One thing to note here is that the way you do column formatting or view formatting, the data underlying data does not change, which is getting stored in the SharePoint list. Okay, only the rendering is changed. So it will only be applied onto the list view. So if suppose you are applying some list formatting and or maybe column formatting or view formatting, the data would still remain the same. If you are calling the web service, the data would not be different for that particular column. It would still be remain same what it used to be and how it is stored. Okay, it's just that the rendering is changed, right? And as I said, there are two options to do. One is rule builder UI, wherein we can kind of point and click and apply some rules to do things, which we will be seeing. And there is an advanced mode, which is basically the JSON mode. Now, what we can control using column formatting, we can control the styles. Okay, like you can change the font size, or say you can change the background, you can apply borders, or maybe you can add the icons. This kind of things can be done. You can also change the column content. Okay, so not necessarily the column formatting which you are doing, right, can only be used as the content to be displayed here. Like for example, if you have a status column, and if you there is maybe another column, say XYZ column, and there is some values in the XYZ column, you can also combine the status column and XYZ column and display it in the status column. Okay, but the data won't change. As I said, it would just be that the rendering would be changed. Okay, and there are also uh, functionality of the content which can be changed. Okay, we will see an example of it wherein we can create columns and apply the formatting, wherein once you click on the button you can actually do some functionality like opening the form, or say opening the URL, making it hyperlink, or creating a flow. So this kind of functionality also can be changed using column formatting. Now coming to the view formatting, what happens is, rather than just changing the format of the column, what we are doing is we are formatting whole row, right? So in this example, if you see, maybe if you have a feedback list, and depending on the due date, if you wanted to just highlight the whole row, maybe red or whatever color which you would prefer, you can still do that. So in this case, rather than applying the column formatting, we would be applying the similar kind of formations, or using rich builder UI, or maybe JSON mode, and the whole row would be formatted, right? So again, this basically allows us to create the custom row layouts. Okay, so now this is very interesting, and one of the thing which can be used in many scenarios wherein you don't want the visualization of your data within your list to be just simple rows and columns. Okay, you might want to change it to cards view, or you might want to change it into a rectangle box wherein you wanted to display one of the columns on the left hand side and the feedback column on the right hand side, and the due date maybe on the again another on the right hand side. Whatever layouts you can think of, okay, which can be possible, that can be done one way or another. We will be seeing few of the examples on what all complex views can be created using view formatting, right? And what can be controlled, again, these three things are same what we used to have. When we can control the styles, we can control the content of entire list item, basically the entire row rather than just the column, and the functionality also can be changed. Okay, the links which is provided here is from Microsoft. They have given a very detailed instruction of how to create the view formatting, and what are the different scenarios in which you can use view formatting. Now coming to supported column types. Okay, so this is just a kind of note wherein most of the columns are supported which we can apply the column formatting, but there are three columns on which right now the formatting is not supported, which is manage metadata column, and the file name column in the document library, and the retention label. So these are the basically three columns on which you cannot apply the column formatting. All other columns which are there, which you have created manually, or which there are some of out of the box column, like content column, counter ID column, title column in list. These are the columns which are already created, right, by default. So that also can be customized. The formatting can be customized. Moving on, so let's see first, rule builder UI. So as I said, this is basically kind of a wizard like builder which we can use to just point and click and do the formatting. So nothing on the theory part. Let's just quickly check the demo. So consider this is my SharePoint list, okay, maybe an issue list, and this is out of the box views which is created once you create a list. I have some columns like title, description, due date, assigned to, and status, and percentage. So what we will do is maybe we can start applying the basic example which we have seen in the one of the slide to apply it on the status column. So to apply a column formatting, what you can do is you can click on the drop down on the status column. In the column setting, you can say format this column. Now, once you click on that, we see this kind of rich UI builder which they applies, right? So here there are two options. One is basically format choice column. Okay, so this is something which automatically applies some styling for you rather than you controlling it, but still you can edit it in most of the cases. Okay, but and this is the conditional formatting where we can write rules on depending on the status column what we wanted to do. So let me go and click on the conditional formatting. So if you see here, now it says us, show all values as this. Okay, now it is basically without any rule. What we are saying is that I want the background color to be kind of gray, and the text as it is which it was. Okay, but you can click here and you can select the color which you wanted to do. Once you click that, you can see that the color is being changed, right? Now in the this is kind of a typical scenario through which you can change it, and then you can also click on more styles, wherein you will be able to apply different stylings like fill color, the font size, if you want to make bold, if you want to make italic, and this is something which which is kind of evolving. They have recently added, and they are trying to add new features onto it in with every new releases. Okay, but let's see how we can do conditional format. Like we don't want every column to be formatted with the same CSS. What we want is we wanted to apply some rules. So what I can say, like if the status column is equal to, I can say, for example, first pending. What I want to do is I don't want the background to be blue. I want the background to be red, which is which would be applied. Then I can also apply one more condition. So it's not that a single condition can be applied. You can just say one more condition saying that if status column is this and maybe the due date is this, then only apply this. Okay, so multiple conditions can be added, and you can also add and if conditions, whatever according to your need, right? So this is one of the rule which we have created. Now let's go and create one more rule saying that if the status column is closed, if the status is equal to closed, let's make it green, right? And in progress to be blue. So that is fine. So this is how we can use rich UI builder. And once you click on it, once you close this, the formatting would remain. If you refresh the page, the formatting would be still there, right? And this same way you can apply formatting on different other columns also. Like if you want to apply it on the due date, you can directly apply it. Once you click here, automatically it depending on the data type, it basically applies something for you, but you can always go and edit it. Okay, so like for example in the due date, it has default created some rules for you. Like if the due date is before today, this is what it should be. If the due date is today, this is what it should be. And if due date is after today, this is what it should be. So this is how it can be changed, and you can still do your own customization. You can remove this, you can move up and down, and if this doesn't work, you can go for conditional formatting, right? So this is basically the example of rich UI builder, and this they are adding it adding new features every now and then. So let understand one thing, that using rich UI builder does not change the underlying infrastructure or the underlying implementation they have used. So what they are giving is they are basically giving us the UI through which we can create the rules. But at the end, once you select all the rules and everything, a JSON object is created automatically for us, and that has been applied to it. So still JSON is the way to do things. So what you can do is maybe you can start with the rich UI builder, and if you think your customization is not supported, or something which is which you need is not available there, you can start with rich UI builder, get the JSON object, customize this according to your need, and then you can apply it again. So that also can be done. Okay, now moving on to the advanced mode. right? So with advanced mode, as I said, we have to write JSON. Okay, and the schema is defined by Microsoft. So there are two schemas. One is for column formatting and one is for view formatting. And once the schema is defined, this is kind of declarative customization which is based on JSON, and we should understand HTML. Okay, like, because what we are controlling is at the end is the HTML which has been displayed on the web page, right? So if you know the structure of HTML on how you want that particular column or the view to be formatted, you can easily convert into JSON object. Okay, and then you can apply the JSON formatting. So without any delay, what we will do is let us see the demo of the advanced mode JSON. For this, what we will do is we will create a simple blank. We'll start with the JSON. So you can use any notepad editor, but what I'm doing is I'm using Visual Studio Code. The reason behind it is if you give the schema, if you start with the JSON object, if the file extension is .json, and if you give single attribute, which is the schema which is provided by Microsoft, okay, this does not change until and unless they are releasing the new version. So like right now it is in version 2. So if they are releasing version 3, we can always use version 3, which might be some advanced attributes or some features would have been added to it. So once you add a schema, and if it is Visual Studio Code, and if you use the control space, you will get the IntelliSense, right? So if you see here, the base thing is once you provided the schema, these are the elements which are supported at the root element. So first, as a first step, what we have to understand, one thing: element type. Okay, now this is something which is basically a kind of HTML which you wanted to display in your JSON format, right? And as of now, only this many JSON elements are supported. Okay, so it means that you can create an anchor tag, you can create a button, you can create an div, you can create an image, span, path, and SVG, right? You cannot create outside of anything else. Okay, the HTML maybe having other different elements, but that are not supported as of now, but maybe in future they will be supporting it, right? So first thing is the element type is something which what element type you wanted to create, right? So now let's consider what we wanted to do is we wanted to just display a specific column within div. Okay, though this is something what the out of the box view also would be doing, but what I'm trying to create here is, suppose my column is say column 1, right, or say column 2. What I want to do is I want to display the data within my column 1 in a specific div. Okay, so this as this is a basic example, I'm taking a simple example for simplicity. And so say column 1 data is stay, right? This is for the item number 1. So for this, what I will do is I will add a div tag, right? And there is another important element which is text content. So text content displayed which you wanted to display within this div element. So this particular schema, what it will do, it will create a div element for you. Okay, and whatever you specify within text content, right? If you are hard coding something, maybe ABC, right, it will override the values which are being displayed in the format in the column, and it would be replacing it with ABC for each of the item. So let's just for now let's just take this example. What I'm doing is I'm copying this JSON. Okay, I'm going here, I'm going to column 2, column settings, format this column in the advanced mode. Yeah, right. So you remember what we did is we create selected column settings, format this column. Rather than using this, we have an option to select advanced mode, wherein we can put our JSON objects. Okay, so if I put it here, the JSON object, and if I say preview, you can see that column 2, all the values are replaced with ABC, right? So this is a simple example where the value is kind of created as a div, and within the div the text content is displayed as ABC. Now if I just change to anything what I need, it will basically change it, right? So this is how the a simple example can be done, but this is not something which we would be using, right? We won't be hard coding the data in our column. Okay, so what we will do is maybe we wanted to refer the current column values. Okay, whatever values are there. So let me just remove this and preview it. So we are getting safe, stay safe. Okay, that is the value here. So for that, what we can do is we can use a token which is current field. Okay, so this is a token which is defined by Microsoft, which we have to use to refer the value of the current field. Now, if I go here and if I paste it here, okay, you might not see any visible difference because we are just putting the same value here, right? So if you see the value apply, it has been applied and the value has been changed here. Okay, but now what happened is it's not been displayed out of the box way which it's been displayed. It has been override with the JSON object which I have created, right? So this is the simplest example on how you can create. So why I started with this example, because I wanted to understand, we to understand that element type and the text content, these are the main two things which we might have to use very frequently on what kind of complex structure we wanted to create, right? Now let's do one thing. I mean, this is simple, right? So what we will do is we wanted to maybe refer the column 1 value in my JSON formatting. Okay, and maybe what I will do is I will do the concatenation of these two and display it in the column 1. Okay, for that there is another token which is basically what we have to do is we have to say we have to start with the bracket and we will say a dollar and the field name. So the field name should be the internal column name of the SharePoint list, which is column 1, right? So this would be column 1. And once I paste it here, as this is an expression, what we will do is we will use the plus sign and we will just say current field and current column 1. And if we copy this and if we paste it here, if you see the concatenation has happened, right? It says now safe stays safe depending on the column values, and it is concatenating the value and putting it there. So this is how you can basically start with the example of creating a JSON, simplest JSON format to understand what the JSON format is about, right? Now moving on. So we have understood two things. You can refer current field and you can also refer the other field values. It's not that you can only refer the within column format, you can only refer the current fields, right? Now these are the root elements which are supported, which we already talked about. This we again talked about, this is the current field through which you get the reference, and if this is the format of the reference where you need to refer the different fields. Okay, now there would be always a complex column type, right? Like the simple type single line of text, multi-line of text is fine, but the complex type like lookup, a person and group, and hyperlink and field, they do not have directly the values which would be written. Okay, like in the lookup case we would have lookup ID and we have lookup value. So what it does is you can always use @current field dot lookup ID, which will give you the item ID of the lookup, and if you use lookup value, it will give you the value of the lookup. Same goes with person and group field. Here, if you see the person and group field, it returns maybe 5 or 6 property values which you can use, like title, email, SIP, picture, and the department and job title. So you can use any of them by referring to @current field dot email. And if it is an hyperlink field, you can get the URL using @current field. And if you want a description, we know, right, hyperlink field is stored as a URL plus description. To get the description, you can say .desc, which will display this. So all this has been documented into the Microsoft Docs itself. Okay, now the simpler scenario won't be like we are just displaying it the text content. What we wanted to do is we wanted to do some manipulation, we wanted to do some formulas, we might wanted to check the values of a different property, and depending on that we wanted to do this. For that, what they have given is they have given expressions, right? Expressions works for text content, style properties, and attribute property, which can be expressed as an expression. Like for example, the second example which we took, where we are concatenating two values, what we did is we are actually using the expression where we are referring two fields, doing the concatenation using the plus operator, and then assigning it to the text content property, right? and this expression are evaluated at runtime based on the context of the current field. Okay, and you can always kind of nested one expression within another expressions, right? And one thing to note here is, there are two types in which we can write the expression. One is the Excel style expression, which is basically kind of, the way we write formulas in our Excel. And there is an abstract syntax tree expression, which is basically kind of gives you an syntax where you have to create the JSON objects in the tree view format. Okay, this can be a bit complicated, but in scenarios wherein the Excel formula might become too long, because we all know, right, if we wanted to write a single formula to handle many of the cases, the Excel style formula doesn't work great in terms of readability. So in that cases we can use abstract tree expression formula. So moving on, just an example of, like for example, what we wanted to do is, if the element we wanted to create a div element, we wanted to give the padding 4 pixel, and we wanted to change the background color, and we wanted to check if the current field value is less than 40, we wanted to give the background color to this particular hexacode, and if not, this would be the hexacode. So this is basically the Excel style expression which we are seeing on the bottom. And on the top, if you see the same formula, if needs to be written in the abstract syntax tree, it has to be written like this. Okay, this can be kind of not easy to understand at first, but once you get used to it, this is more advanced, and this can handle more complex scenarios also. Okay, so in this case, ideally, if you see the background color, rather than directly writing in the string, we are giving it the JSON object. Okay, starting from here and till here, we are writing the JSON object where we are saying my first operator is question mark, which is basically an if condition, and I'm saying that my operands should be the values which is returned from this, either true or false, and if it is true, display this value. If it is false, display this value. Now the operands again has its own expression wherein you are checking whether the current field value is less than 40 or not. Okay, so moving on, just to quick see on what all operators are available. We have binary arithmetic operators, then we have which is basically plus sign, minus sign, division, multiplication, less than, greater than, equal to. We have some unary operators where we can convert, which takes single argument in the function, like toString, number, date, and everything. We have binary operators like index of, which takes two objects, two parameters, and we have ternary operators. So there are many functions available. Okay, these are well documented here, but I have added it here for your quick reference so that we know that all these kind of things are possible in the list formatting. Now, moving on, this is just a quick tip, that we can also use attributes, the CSS classes which are on the Office UI Fabric. Right now, we all know that the modern views are developed using Office UI Fabric or Fluent UI Fabric, right? So it do have the UI Fabric by default loaded onto your modern pages. Okay, and so as it is an UI framework, it means that the CSS would be loaded there, and there are some default classes we can directly use. Like for example, if you see in the screenshot here, we are saying we need a div element, the text content should be current field, and we wanted to add an attribute, okay, which is basically the class attribute, and I wanted to apply this SP field severity warning. So once you just add this, what it will do is it will basically display the column value like this in the right hand side, which is in review, right? And not only this, you can also basically use the theme color typography grid system, which are everything available in the Office UI Fabric, which you can check details here. So like if you wanted to give maybe create a list formatting customization, but still you wanted to give kind of out of the box kind of view, then you can definitely check this out. This will give us cover many scenarios, right? Now again, let's move to the demo. Okay, what we will see is we'll see how to convert a single line of text into hyperlink. Then we will see a hover demo where is basically on click of hover we will display some content. Then we will see a multi-value column wherein we can use the loop. Okay, and then a person and group and the percentage. Okay, so let me go to the view. Okay, let me first clean this out. Maybe I might have not removed it. Right, so these are my columns. Okay, So the first one being the hyperlink. Okay, so let's see how we can create the hyperlink. Okay, for saving us time, what I did is I have created, the JSONs already here, and then I will explain and we'll just put it out there to see the output of JSON. Okay, now in this example, what we want to do is we wanted to convert this single line of email address to hyperlink so that on click of it, the default mail client should open. Okay, and we also wanted to display an icon here. So we will start with div as in the element type. Okay, now before going here, okay, now in a typical scenario where you are creating an HTML, this is how it would look like, right? If you wanted to create a div, you wanted to give an icon name equal to something, okay, maybe a Office UI Fabric icon. This will only work because we are doing it on the SharePoint Modern UI where the Office UI Fabric is there and it understands what icon name needs to be displayed. And then we need an anchor tag because we need the link to be clickable, right? And we will have to set the href from mail to the current field. So basically the current values of the current field which has been referred. And we also wanted to display the anchor text as a current field value. So ideally this should be the HTML which we wanted to create. Okay, so for this what we did, we created an element type of div and then we added an attribute. So once you say attribute, attribute is nothing but anything which you would create within your HTML element. Like suppose if you wanted to give ID, this is what the attribute tells, right? ID is my attribute, but it does not support all the attributes. Okay, it only supports the attributes which are available. You cannot create add anything which is not available. So as of now, these are the attributes which are available. Like you can provide alternate class, you can provide CSS class name, you can give href, you can give src, you can give target, which is basically used for the anchor tag, you can give title, and you can give d attribute also, which is for svg elements. Okay, now so this is what the hyperlink says, and then once the attribute is given, and then what we need, this is the our parent element, right? And this is my children. So what we have to do is we have to create a children element which would be always an array, because the children can be multiple, but it can be single also. If you wanted to give only a single element within div, that is fine, but you have to give it as an array, right? And within array, whatever you put, again it starts with the JSON, right? So again here in the element type, you are saying I need an anchor tag and I need my attributes href to be mail tab, mail to @current field, and my txt content should be @current field, and I just wanted to give some styling to give the padding as 2 pixel, right? Now let me copy this and let me go here in the column setting, format this column. In the advanced mode, I'll paste this and I'll just preview it. So see, if you see the content of the email has been changed to hyperlink, and maybe the padding is less, so let me give you 5 pixel padding. So now it looks good. Okay, and once you click on it, it will basically open the mail client also, right? So this is kind of the example of the button functionality which we are talking about. You can change the functionality of the column also. Let me save this and close this. So okay, so this is our first example. Okay, moving on to the hover demo. Okay, in the hover demo, what we need is this is the column which would be formatting. On hovering of this particular field, maybe we wanted to display something, maybe a text content, a tooltip kind of something, right? So for this, this is the HTML which we can create. Okay, one thing I purposefully has removed the schema thing here, okay, to just highlight that we don't need to add schema field, right? It will always understand what is the schema, because that the way we are putting it in the list view, it knows that what it has statement has to do, correct? But what we do is we basically use it in our Visual Studio, so that in Visual Studio we can basically create the format, use the IntelliSense objects, right? Now here we are creating div element, we are giving the text component, and there is a property which is custom card properties, and there is a formatter which basically creates the format. Okay, and on open on event hover field, this is where we are saying that you display the hover text content when the hover event occurs, right? So if I go and put it there in the format and column, if I preview this, right, and if you go and hover it, you can see the property values are displaying, right, and the tooltip. So this is how the hover example works. Okay. Now, next thing is multi-choice. Okay, this is interesting, but this is kind of complex. Wherein what I need is I have this particular multi-value choice column: coffee, water, juice, wine, beer. This is basically a choice column. What we want to do is we wanted to convert these values into icon, right? So for that, what we will do is first thing is we will just display the values in the choice operator. Like, this is how the syntax works. In the children we can say for each, right? And for each element, what I'm saying is create a div element. Okay, and then maybe give some background colors to it. Okay, so this is the simplest loop example which we can see here. I'll format this column. I'll go here and I'll say preview. So what it does, it is actually giving background color to each of the values within the text, right? So this is how a loop can be created. Okay. These samples are available in the PNP sample repo, which I would be talking about. But let me just show you, this particular JSON object wherein what we are doing is in the children element, we are creating span object. Okay, and for each span object we are comparing whether the current field value is water, then display the icon as theme dark, otherwise display it basically neutral light. So now if you see this theme dark and neutral light is something which is kind of available in the theme itself. So these are the classes which are available in your theme, so that whatever theme is applied to the site, it will automatically get applied. Okay, I'm pasting it here. And now if you see, this is converted into basically icons, and depending on the value it is highlighted, and if it is the value is not there, it is kind of disabled. Okay, so this is how we can use multi-choice column. Okay, I'm little behind the time, so I'm running a little fast. Okay, next example is to display user profile group photo. Okay, now consider you have person and group column, and what you wanted to do is maybe this modified column, it displays the values in the text format, right? What we need to do is we need to display the maybe the profile image against it. Okay, so for that we create a div element, and within div element in the children we say image tag, and we use this particular URL to get the user profile photo. So this would be available in all the SharePoint Onlines. Okay, and we are passing the account name saying that the display get me the photo of the current user email ID, and then we are applying some stylings to it, right? So if I go here and if I select modified by, and if I paste it here, if I preview, you can see that we got the icons of the users, right? Now the last example on here is the percentage bar. Okay, in the percentage bar, what we want to do is we wanted to display the percentage in the bar format, and so this is a complex example which is directly taken from the PNP repo, but just to demonstrate what all things are possible, you can see we can convert this basic data into a bar kind of thing, a chart kind of thing, where the values would be displayed, and depending on the values, the circle bar part of the circle would be highlighted, right? So this is how you can use the different formatting techniques, okay, to convert your column settings. Okay, I do have some other examples which I wanted to do, like button elements. Okay, so in this what we do is you can actually convert your element into a button, and there are some properties which are available, like default click property. So what it does, it will basically open the out of the box view window of your SharePoint list item. Okay, if you click on share, it will basically open the share dialog window. If you click on delete, it will basically provide the operation of delete. If you click on edit, it will basically open the edit property window. And if you say exit flow, it will directly execute a SharePoint Power Automate flow, right? Let's see the demo here. Now this is a simple row action item, okay, and I have already added formatting to all the columns. If you see here, okay, the formatting is as such simple. What we have to do is we have to use the custom row action format, and within action we can use the values which are possible, like the values which I have shown here, like default, click, share, delete, edit properties, or execute flow, okay. And if you see, same way in share, I would have the row action as share, so it will automatically open the sharing window. Now let's quickly see what happens. I'm clicking on the open item. Once I click on it, you can see the open item window gets the default functionality gets executed, right? If I click on share, it will directly open the share window, which we used to get in our out of the box way, right? If I click on delete, it will basically start doing the delete operation. It will open the pop-up. If I say delete, it will delete, otherwise it will cancel, right? On click of edit action item, it will open the edit flow. And this is very interesting, wherein you can actually call Microsoft Power Automate flow. Okay, so here once you click on it, you have to give the Power Automate ID, and that Power Automate ID would be something which you get from the flow.microsoft.com, and it will manually trigger that flow. Once you give, if the flow is basically taking some input, you can give the input and you can say do it. It will basically start executing that flow, right? So this is very interesting, and this is something which might be available in many of the use cases. Okay, now this is another a thumbnail example, wherein you can basically get the thumbnail of the file, which applies only to the document library. Okay, now for that I have a thumbnail preview. Let me go to that particular library, and if you see here, I have created a preview column, which is basically a calculated column which doesn't have any value. What I will do is I will just go and add the formatting to this. Okay, and I'm using a token which says thumbnail.large. So this is something which is provided out of the box by SharePoint or Microsoft, wherein it will automatically create a get the thumbnail of the file and display it in the column. So if you see here, depending on the file type, it is actually getting the thumbnail. Okay, and like for example, if it is a text file, it is actually creating the thumbnail of the text file. If it is an image file, it will take the image as the thumbnail, and if it is a PPT file, it will give the first slide as the thumbnail. So this is something which is available and used in other cases also, which can be similarly used in our list formatting, right? Now again, moving on to view formatting. So what we have is we have what we can do is we can format whole row. Okay, we have to still specify the JSON object on which we wanted to create, and we can also control whether we wanted to hide this selection, whether we wanted to make the view clickable or not, whether we wanted to display the column header or not, or whether we wanted to display the tile properties or not. Okay, let me quickly go to the demo. Okay, so this is something like I have a title column and a description column. I have values of this. Okay, and for view formatting, what you do is you basically use the view formatter class and you create the div element, and within div element you create the children's the way you wanted to create it, right? And here what I have is I have basically the title column and the description column. So let us first see the demo on what we are trying to do here. If I go to do the view formatting, what we do is we click on the views. We can say format current view. Okay, and click on format view will basically open the same window. You can use the rich UI builder also to format your things, and you can also use the advanced part here. So now if I click on preview, you see my view has been changed from kind of the tabular format to a good kind of a block thing, wherein I'm also getting this logo from internet. I'm displaying the title and I'm displaying the description below it, and these are on the hover properties is there. On click of the hover properties, you can open the default functionality also, right? So this is how the list formatting, view formatting can be done, right? The structure and everything would be similar to what we have in our column formatting. Okay, nothing specific there. But the only thing is, like while creating the view formatting, we have to take into account that we are formatting whole row rather than just the columns. Okay. Right. Now, moving on. What are the different tokens available? Okay, like what you can use in the JSON. You can basically use this all tokens which are available, which is current web at the rate current web. This will evaluate to the absolute URL of your site. You can say at the rate me, which will evaluate the current email address of the logged in user. So if you wanted to write some condition saying that, if the value of a particular field or that person in group field is current logged in user, do something that you can do. You can use at the rate now, which will basically give you the current date and time. You can use at the rate row index. This can be used while you are using the for loop, while to get the index of the current view within your view. And then you have at the rate thumbnail. This we have seen, right, wherein we can use directly get the thumbnail. This is only applicable to the document library. And then there is window.inner height and window.inner width. I'm not sure the practical usage of these two properties, but they are available wherein you will get the inner height of that particular browser window in pixel when the list is getting rendered. Okay. So I'm almost done. Now let's quickly see what all things we can do, right? Okay. So these are some of the example screenshot of, available from the PNP list formatting library. You can basically convert your data to this kind of complex UI or structure, HTML structure, which you wanted to do. Wherein you can see there is a photo, there is a title of the name and the email address. You can also display maps, you can display notes field, you can add icons here like edit, delete and everything. So if you see, this is kind of, customization which we used to do in our server side coding or using JSON coding. Correct. Another example, you can convert this into kind of a card view, like you wanted to display birthdays, you wanted to display profile card. I have added links to each of the examples which is available in PNP for the reference purposes. We can basically use that as a base and then modify according to our need. Right. Then we can also convert, list data into this bulletin kind of board. And this is something which is, kind of a simple form customization, which I wanted to cover, but I'm not sure if we have any questions. If we don't have any questions, I would like to cover that, or else maybe we can go to Q&A.
There is no question yet, but you
Okay.
have to wrap up like pretty quickly.
Okay, sure.
Go
No,
ahead.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. So this is basically a simple form customization, which is not part of list formatting. But I wanted to highlight this because what you can do is, like if you wanted to change the add edit view form of the list, this can also be done nowadays, right? Using this simple customization. So once you click on edit on any item, you might see an option edit form here. So once you click on edit form, you will see edit columns, wherein you can control what all things, which all columns you wanted to display on your edit or view form. Right. If suppose you don't want to display percentage column, you can just uncheck it. You can also use drag and drop so that you can re-render the columns, and you can just save it. And once it is saved, you can see that particular format would be hidden from that all three forms. Okay. Now this is again, one of the functionality which was very much required, wherein for a simple customization we wanted to hide a column, or we don't want to display something. We were supposed to use content editor, web part, and then using JavaScript we were supposed to code, right? So now this is possible using out of the box way, and they would be adding new features also as and when the time comes. Okay. Closing on, these are the resources which we can see from where you can get the documentation on the column formatting, on the view formatting, on the column samples, and on the view samples. So there is a good amount of samples available in the PNP library, okay, which you can basically use. If you click on any of the samples, it will give you description of what things the sample is doing, and it will by default give you the JSON objects also, okay, which you can directly use it, and then you can customize it according to your need. So this is how. So I would prefer don't start from scratch. Okay, if you wanted to build something, go and look for this PNP library, get the samples, okay, and then customize according to your need. Okay, that's how you would learn to create the JSON. That's how you will be able to understand what the objects which they have created meant for, what are the different elements which can be used, and everything, right? Thanks. These are the speaker and the event feedback link. Please feel that will help us to the organizers also to identify what they did good, what they did wrong. Thank you again. These are my LinkedIn and my Twitter link. So if there are any question answers, I would like to answer, or else I can wind it up.